Hey, here for another dude's views, man. Today we're going to talk about a crash that happened at Cedar Point today. First though, if you like my videos, hit the subscribe button down here. Got lots of dark rides, roller coasters, vintage games from 70s and 80s. A lot of my dark ride POVs are the only ones on YouTube because they're fairly old. POVs, roller coasters from around the world, lots of water slide POVs I filmed around the world, including Dubai, so check all that stuff out. As I was saying, Cedar Point had a crash on Steel Vengeance today, first day open to the public. Heard there was 4-hour waits for it, which doesn't surprise me. Obviously, the coaster's been operating with people on it for weeks, had probably thousands of cycles of trains by now. All without incident, but unluckily for Cedar Point and Cedar Fair, they had one on opening day, which is a huge black eye. I'm sure it's all over the media in the Cleveland area, the Ohio area, and maybe even make national, just because this was the roller coaster for this year. And this was, the RMC pushing the limits roller coaster. So never good for an accident to happen on that coaster, even though this was something that could have happened on anything, and has happened, like on Intamin Superman up in Six Flags New England quite a few years ago. A similar incident happened at a much higher speed that did hurt somebody. Somebody might have even died on that one. But it was a much faster speed coming in, and I remember sitting at Darien Lake watching the trains flying in on their Superman and stopping on a dime just a few feet from the train in front of it. This one, not like that. You can see here in the video, you come into the station, there's 4 banks of fin brakes separated with some kick tires. My guess is that's 2 actual brake runs. Kick tires there because fairly flat track. You no longer have that drop in like you did from Mean Streak. So under normal operations, I'm sure they were cranking the trains through, weren't stacking them. You're going to have a car parked in the station. Probably everybody was already seated, strapped in. Here comes the other train, was supposed to stop. It didn't, and hit the back of the other train. Apparently damaged both trains and even damaged the track, the steel track, because yes, these are steel coasters. So a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's not a big deal because nobody got hurt. Well, it's great that nobody got hurt. I'm sure Cedar Fair is extremely happy that's the case. Issues that would have came up, not something like this, but I'm sure there's RMC people that are already doing an analysis, a layer protection analysis, which is what you do in risk analysis. What could happen and what do we have to stop that? And if the scenario leads to, well, if this happened you could kill 5 people, you got to have usually 5 layers of protection to make sure that's not going to happen, at least 4 layers. So in this scenario, the train coming in should have came down to a fairly low speed at the first bank of fin brakes, which it did, and then should have came to a stop at the second one. The second one definitely didn't work properly. Did it stop it at all? My guess is the second bank didn't work at all, and the train just flew through the second bank, or not flew, but went through the second bank, unbraked, and then hit the train that was in there. So the second bank there you see in the video, that one is probably what failed. Was it a sensor failure? Was it a programming failure? Did the PLC think there wasn't a train in the station? So all things like that you have to look at. So in this case, you would have had to have this be any worse, you would have had to have the other bank not work either, and instead of dropping it down to 10 miles an hour, only dropping it down to like 20 miles an hour. Then that train would have hit the other one at 20, definitely would have had injuries at that point. So, this could have easily been something on a hot day, on a heavy track, wet track, whatever. This could have been worse than it was, most likely. So the RMC is going to look at that and my guess is you might start coming to a halt on the first track or on the first brake run, then being kicked to the second one, and then in the station. That's going to be my guess on a solution to this, unless it was a failure of a sensor. But usually they've got multiple sensors that all have to vote that it's okay for the train to go. Steel Vengeance is going to be closed this weekend. Steel Vengeance is probably going to be closed next weekend, maybe even after that, depending on what they find. But just the damage repair on everything is going to take a while. And I wouldn't be surprised if Twisted Timbers is here in the Richmond area is going to be closed for a while, and maybe our other RMCs that use the same PLCs, DCSs, same sensors, which they probably do. I would assume they have a basics setup that they start out with and then expand on it for each coaster. So this could be a broad-reaching thing. If RMC, their safety-first company, they're going to do the right thing, I would guess, and shut them all down, at least for this weekend. So keep that in mind if you're going to any park with a new RMC or even an old RMC that you're going there to ride specifically. So, like I say, good thing nobody got hurt. Hopefully things get fixed here fast. So, just want to, again, subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. Got a lot of other stuff for you to see, and have fun coasting out there. And remember, you're still more likely to get hurt driving to the amusement park than you are at the amusement park by orders of magnitude. These coasters are incredibly safe. It's just that you hear about every crash. God knows how many crashes there were here in the Richmond area today, and with cars, and probably a fatality even. You're not going to hear about those unless you really look at it. But you will hear about every roller coaster crash. So just keep that in mind. Amusement parks are a safe form of entertainment. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.